Hey everyone! Welcome back to Health Angel Solutions. Today, we're going to talk about 7 superfoods for thyroid function that you should be consuming if you want to positively impact your thyroid through the foods you put inside of your body. These superfoods aren't particularly magical. Rather, the reason I call them superfoods is that they contain more nutrients per unit than other foods, and these are the nutrients your thyroid needs to function at its best. For this reason, you should consume these if you have a thyroid condition and want to make sure you're giving your body the nutrients it needs to function. Then, these are the foods that you should look at. I've made a list of 7 of these. So let's start with blueberries, which are incredibly rich in phytonutrients and have a lot of antioxidants per unit. They're also very low in carbohydrates. So if I look at 1 cup of blueberries, which we'll be talking about dosing and how much of these you should be eating each day, it contains about 85 calories, 21 grams of carbs, 24% of your daily vitamin C requirements, and 36% of your daily vitamin K needs. Since your body uses antioxidants, whose name is derived from the Greek word anti, which means against oxidants, which refers to oxidative stress, and thyroid disease sufferers, particularly those with Hashimoto's thyroiditis, are the reason we are concerned about these antioxidants and the fact that they are packed with phytonutrients and anthocyanins. These blueberries are excellent for patients attempting to reduce their carbohydrate intake in order to potentially lose weight because they are low in carbohydrates and contain those very substances that neutralize oxidative stress, which can be brought on by a number of thyroid conditions, including Hashimoto's thyroiditis. Now, while I'm not particularly fond of extremely low-carb diets for individuals with thyroid conditions, if you're on one of those diets and you want to be mindful of the amount of carbohydrates you're consuming, blueberries are a great potential source. In addition, there are numerous studies that support the benefits of blueberries for conditions like brain fog, depression, and even cognitive issues. In fact, blueberries are a food group that you should eat every day regardless of your thyroid status. Now, I suggest consuming half to a cup of blueberries per day. You can purchase them frozen or raw. It doesn't really matter as long as you incorporate them into your diet. One really simple way to consume an entire cup of blueberries is to add them to your morning smoothie. Blend them all up and then enjoy. That brings us to our first recommendation, which is blueberries. Our second suggestion is seaweed. Given that seaweed offers the highest concentration of iodine per unit of any dietary group, it makes sense. But there might be an issue with it. This is that, although seaweed is a very rich source of iodine, you should be aware that if you have a thyroid condition, you will need to take extra care of your thyroid, which we'll discuss in a moment. The amount of iodine per unit of seaweed that you consume varies dramatically. I'm talking about really quite large here, and ranges from 16 micrograms to 1984 micrograms. To put this into perspective, the average person, according to my recommendations, needs approximately 150 to 300 micrograms of iodine per day at the low end. I would prefer it if you could gauge how much iodine you are taking in so that you don't unintentionally take too much. Just be mindful of this and look at the type of seaweed you might eat to see if you can gauge the consistent levels of iodine found there. If you don't think that's the case, get iodine from another source. We'll have more sources as we discuss these superfoods, so don't worry about that. We'll have more sources of iodine, but do be aware of that. I have a whole other video discussing how your body uses iodine to create thyroid hormone, so make sure you check that out. Because the body cannot produce iodine, and because it is required to produce thyroid hormone. Everyone needs it, including thyroid patients, including those with Hashimoto's thyroiditis. The key here is to try and consume your iodine if you have Hashimoto's thyroiditis. So when it comes to seaweed and thyroid patients, they really do need that iodine. Or wish to avoid iodine-induced damage to the thyroid gland, you should simply take it with selenium. Alright, so you can obtain your iodine from foods or supplements. If you're concerned about the amount of iodine you're getting from your diet, supplements become an excellent option because you can really control and fine-tune exactly how much iodine you're getting. Finally, as I kind of previously mentioned, it is safe to use in thyroid conditions. Just keep in mind that if you're taking it in supplement form, you should take it with selenium. We'll discuss how to obtain selenium from food sources. Here in a moment. Next up is maca root. Blueberries were the #1 food group, followed by seaweed and maca root in general. I believe that maca root, or maca in general, is one of the least common food groups that thyroid patients can benefit from, for the straightforward reason that it has a really positive impact on sex hormones, such as estrogen, progesterone, and testosterone. What is Maca, you ask? Well, maca root is a cruciferous vegetable that is found in that plant family and originates in Peru. And the way that most people obtain it is by taking this plant, mashing it up, and then desiccating it into a fine powder, which you then purchase. This is the broad method that I advise utilizing it. I'll discuss dosages in a moment. Since there aren't many adaptogens, you're probably familiar with some of the others that belong to this family, such as rhodiola, ashwagandha, holy basil, ginseng, etc. Maca root is regarded as an adaptogen. An adaptogen simply means that it is assisting your body in adapting to stress. Maca root is one of these, so it can actually help your adrenals, which is really important if you have a thyroid condition, because many patients who have thyroid problems also have problems with cortisol. Therefore, taking a food that is naturally assisting your body in adapting to that stress and balancing your cortisol in the process is a really good thing. However, the benefits of maca root don't end there. It also has positive effects on male and female sex hormones. I personally take maca root on a daily basis. Basically, maca root is the thing to add now if you have any issues with libido, building muscle mass as a woman, depression that you think is related to your sex hormones, or if you just want a food group which helps balance your sex hormones. Since maca root is really an entire plant with a ton of nutrients jammed into it, 2 tablespoons of maca root powder will yield something like this. In fact, I use almost everything on this list, with the exception of a few that I'll discuss in a moment. 20 or each dish will provide roughly 91 calories, 4 grams of protein, and 20 grams of carbohydrates, 1 gram of fat, 2 grams of dietary fiber, 133 of your daily vitamin C requirements, 84 of your daily copper requirements, and 23 of your daily iron requirements. You get a ton of nutrients in just 2 tablespoons minus 16 of potassium, 16 of B6, 11 of manganese, 8 of niacin, 7 of calcium, and 6% of riboflavin, which is why I strongly advise you to use it right away. How do you use it? I suggest taking the powder, which you can purchase organically and have shipped to you. Again, all you have to do is add 1 to 2 tablespoons, the recommended amount, to your morning smoothie. You can also mix it with protein powder to get even more protein and maca root. Add some blueberries for antioxidant support, and you have a super nutritious smoothie that offers many health benefits. Don't underestimate the power of maca root. I use it every day, and don't sleep on its benefits. Moving on to number 4, Brazil nuts. We'll discuss some of these claims that may be debatable, and Brazil nuts are possibly one of those. 1 Brazil nut will yield between 68 and 91 micrograms of selenium. But that concentration does vary quite a bit between the single nuts and where they're sourced and so on, so you do have to be careful. In fact, I think that range is probably a little bit larger, but what you'll hear from a lot of people is that 1 Brazil nut equals 91 micrograms of selenium. So Brazil nuts are the single easiest way to get a food source of selenium, and they contain a huge amount of selenium per serving. I'll discuss why selenium is important for your thyroid in a moment. And that could be true or not. That is merely the average. You may have 1 nut with 15 or 20 micrograms and another with 150 or so. Because selenium is one of those nutrients, like iodine, recall, you should adjust your dosage carefully. You should be mindful of how much or how many Brazil nuts you eat each day. If you choose to eat Brazil nuts rather than take a supplement, you should probably concentrate on just one because you don't want to unintentionally consume too much. Because selenium toxicity can mimic symptoms of low thyroid, it can actually cause problems like hair loss, brain issues, and so on. Therefore, you want to be careful not to consume too much selenium in the form of Brazil nuts. You can do that quite easily by just popping a couple into your mouth, and especially if it's in a tub with multiple different nuts in it, you might not even realize what you're eating when you consume it. Now that you know that, you might be wondering why selenium first of all. Research indicates that taking selenium, particularly if you have Hashimoto's thyroiditis, can help lower thyroid antibodies, particularly TOE antibodies. This is significant because, in Hashimoto's thyroiditis, those antibodies lead to the destruction of your thyroid gland. Therefore, if you can take selenium naturally, you may be able to prevent the oxidative stress inside your thyroid gland, reduce thyroid damage, and possibly even reverse or slow down the damage that is already occurring in Hashimoto's thyroiditis. Secondly, selenium has a favorable effect on a process known as 4 to 3 conversion. In summary, taking selenium helps your body produce more 3, which is the most potent thyroid hormone. As a result, it helps your thyroid function. However, you should be cautious not to consume too much selenium, which can be easily done by eating Brazil nuts. Instead, watch out for toxicity and aim to get between 1 and 200 micrograms of selenium per day from both your diet and supplement sources. This is why I include selenium in many of my supplements because it's crucial for thyroid patients. Nevertheless, keep in mind that if you're also getting your selenium from food sources, so you'll need to figure out how much you're getting from supplements and how much you're attempting to get from food sources if you're eating Brazil nuts. The fifth food item is coconut oil. So coconut oil, I've included this because although it is technically a fat, it is a pure source of energy that the body can use right away. This is not the case for many other nutritional sources or other food sources that you ingest. So what does this really mean about superfoods? Let's find out, but first, if you made it this far into the video, thank you. These videos take a lot of effort and time to make, so if you enjoyed them, please hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. This goes a long way in helping us grow. That said, back to the video. Therefore, many of these items and food sources must be broken down by the body in order for it to process them. For example, when you consume sugar found in fruits, your body must first break it down in order for it to process it. However, when you consume coconut oil, the body can immediately consume the medium-chain triglycerides in it and burn them as a pure energy source. As a result, many people who have problems burning or producing energy and AAP in some of their cells may find that using coconut oil helps, because it absorbs instantly and the body and cells can process it to produce energy immediately. Coconut oil is used to treat brain-related issues such as dementia, cognitive decline, depression, and so on. It's also a great oil to cook with and bake with, so you can use it in place of things like olive oil if you're baking with other ingredients. However, keep in mind that your recipe might not turn out exactly the same if you substitute something like butter for coconut oil or something similar. So do bear that in mind. However, coconut oil is a great fat that is very healthy to use and has many other benefits. In fact, some studies have shown that using coconut oil can help improve metabolism by virtue of the energy pathway that I mentioned previously, so bear that in mind. If you're trying to lose weight, coconut oil may be something you want to consider using right now. I recommend using 1 to 2 tablespoons of coconut oil per day. Do not go overboard though, as it is a huge source of calories. Accidentally, there is such a thing as too much good stuff, so bear that in mind when using coconut oil. In fact, when I first learned about coconut oil, I would just throw 5 or 6 tablespoons of it into my smoothies every day. And I did notice a slight increase in my weight because my body was storing and using so many extra calories. So use some coconut oil, but don't use too much. And if you do use it, use it in place of potentially harmful fats like vegetable oils. It's an excellent substitute for all those kinds of oils. Garlic is number 6. There are numerous studies demonstrating the health benefits of garlic, and many people will attest to the fact that it is perhaps one of the most nutritious foods you should eat on a daily basis. Garlic is extremely healthy and has one of the best nutrient profiles of any food, especially considering its small size. We'll be concentrating on the benefits of garlic as they relate to immune function and enhancing the immune system. We are concerned about that if you have a thyroid condition because a lot of thyroid conditions, roughly 70 to 90%, come from the autoimmune disease Hashimoto's thyroiditis. If you can take a food that balances your immune system, it may be able to prevent that destruction from occurring on the thyroid gland and so on. In addition, garlic tastes amazing and can be used in a variety of dishes. If you don't like to cook with it, you can use it as a powder. So there's some evidence to support these claims. If you detest the taste of garlic, you can use 1500 mg of garlic capsules daily to get some of the benefits without having to deal with the taste. Yes, garlic has a strong flavor, and you can tell if something is cooked with a lot of garlic. However, I do recommend getting your garlic from the cloves rather than the powder, so keep that in mind when using it. However, using it to cook with it is highly beneficial and can strengthen your immune system, which can benefit those who have Hashimoto's disease. I specifically mentioned mussels here because they're a great source of protein packed with tons of thyroid-specific nutrients. About 150 grams of mussels contain 18 grams of protein for 129 calories and almost 1 gram of omega-3 fatty acids. You can opt out and use a different type of shellfish if you'd like. So a lot of this information will apply to other ones. Thus, in addition to the high dose of omega-3 fatty acids and proteins, you're also getting a variety of thyroid-specific nutrients that are beneficial to your thyroid, such as potassium, selenium, magnesium, iodine, and zinc. Now, if you've been watching my channel for a while, you probably already know that thyroid patients experience many nutrient deficiencies, particularly those that are found here. We recently discussed zinc, selenium, and iodine, which are the main 3. Many thyroid patients also lack one or more of these nutrients. So, eating mussels will provide you with a huge amount of protein that will positively affect your appetite, especially if you're trying to lose weight. It will also give you those nutrients from a natural source or a natural food source, and it can help you feel full by giving you additional amino acids and omega-3 fatty acids that can help reduce inflammation and support thyroid function in the peripheral tissues. Therefore, you should think about using your mussels, but keep in mind that this is another possible source of iodine. When we talked about seaweed, you had to be careful not to consume too much iodine, so bear that in mind. If you're going to use mussels and seaweed, you probably want to balance those out a little bit. I would suggest using shellfish, or in this case, mussels, 1 to 3 times per week. If you choose to use other sources of iodine, be sure to monitor them so that you don't unintentionally consume too much. Those are the 7. Blueberries, seaweed, maca root, Brazil nuts, coconut oil, garlic, and mussels are among the things we have. Again, you can use other shellfish in this context. All of these food groups contain nutrients and ingredients that are specific to the thyroid and can help to balance and improve thyroid function. However, they shouldn't be considered a miracle treatment that will cure your thyroid condition on their own. Instead, they provide a significant amount of these nutrients, which may mean you don't need to take as many supplements to get all those nutrients, so keep that in mind. And there you have it, -7 thyroid superfoods that can make a big difference in your overall health. By incorporating these nutrient-packed foods into your weekly diet, you can support your thyroid function and boost your energy levels. If you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up, share it with your friends and family, and don't forget to subscribe to Health Angel Solutions for more tips on living a healthier life. I appreciate you viewing, and please be careful.